Hello and good day to all of you, and welcome to our next video lesson for today in English 10. And I guess most of you have already idea about what we're going to talk about. So anyway, I'm thinking of having some sort of next video lessons for this. Although I have already another one, but I decided to focus on the main points or main topics that we can all consider. So now, let's talk about this. Plot, setting, and characterization. You see, in every literature, whether it's a short story, a fable, folktale, novel, whatever it is, they had plots, they had settings, and there are characters to consider. And because of that, every single uh, every single reader can analyze concerning to this. And as we're going to talk about that the said topic here right now, I guess we can all consider the fact that there are importance concerning plot setting and characterization. So let's proceed. Reading is the process wherein the readers grasp the meaning through the information presented in the written text. Reading skill requires the ability to understand the written text. The reader must not just read the text, but also must understand and comprehend the text well. Stories, myths, novels, and poems are some of the written texts that a grade 10 student like you must study. Since grade 10 focuses on world literature, I guess it is logical to say that every student must be able to understand the literary piece. For example, if I will give a certain story that we may go to study it, I think every grade 10 student can analyze it by reading it and also studying it. Not only that, there must be what we call comprehension as well, so that every student can analyze it. So, to fully understand the material read, the reader must analyze its elements such as the plot, setting, and characterization. Plot is the sequence of events in the story. So, we know for sure right now, even in the time that you're in elementary years up to now, that plot is the sequence of events in the story. There are five elements of it. Number one, exposition. It is the setting and the characters that were introduced. So, in exposition, we will be introduced by the place where the story happened, the time where the story happened, and who are the characters of the said story. In Filipino, we can call in on the 2 points here in Filipino, which is tauhan at tagpuan, so to speak. Point 2 is rising action. It is the story that becomes complicated. In short, there will be some sort of rising action there. The problem was presented, the conflict was presented. Point 3 is the climax. It is the highest or turning point of the event in the story. In Filipino, it was called as kasuktulan. It sounds like this will be the highest point of the said event, or in Filipino, pinakakapanapanabi na sandali ng naturang kwento. Falling action, here the conflict is being resolved. It was already known what really happened, what is the solution of it, and what will be the effects or the aftermath of the said solution based on the story. And lastly, resolution. It is the concluding or ending part of the story. So we already know what is plot, and I guess many of us who can read stories, novels, or whatever the literature that you can read, we must have to analyze the sequence of events in the story. How about the setting? Although in the exposition we already tackled it, let's go for this. Setting is the time and place where the story takes place. This is the part wherein characters are being introduced and their appearances are being described. So in setting, here, the time, the place where the story happened were introduced by the setting. Lastly, we have what was called characterization. This is the description of the characters of the story. Who are they? Where do they live? Sometimes it was being asked how old are they or whatever. Also, in this characterization part, there are two ways a writer conveys the information about the characters. Number one is direct. Here, the writer explicitly reveals the characterization of the characters. You see, this is where the said character was introduced directly. What is how old is he or she? What is his or her past or whatever it is. And also, the other one is indirect. Indirect characterization is where the reader is the one that characterizes the character. Where here, for example, you're reading a story, you even don't know what is the description of the character. So sometimes you're assuming who is he or she, what will be his or her motives, and whatever it is. You see, in every character of the said story, there must be some sort of introduction on it. What will be their role, the story, and what will happen to them after the events of it. So now we already know the 3 points to consider when we are reading a story, especially when it comes on the literature that we are reading on. So in our next lesson, we're going to talk about compare and contrast the contents of the materials viewed. I think in this discussion concerning plot, setting, and characterization, it's important to all of us, especially to the graded students, to challenge themselves in reading the texts. Maybe they go on to read a certain poem, novel, short story, fable, you name it, right? And then ask ourselves, what will be the plot of the story? Who are the characters? And also, don't forget on what did we learn in the said story. So anyway, thank you for listening to this video lesson. Sorry for my voice right now, but anyway, I will be okay for that. So thank you for listening. See you on the next video lesson.